that's the kind of real estate agents I've dealt with. Some of those too. I dealt with one just recently who had she had the opportunity to deal with one of my customers. This customer is in Hawaii, and he trusts us to rent his house. And he's been a client of mine for almost 5 years. Long time. 5 years. Now, we don't push the fact that we sell houses too. We specialize in rental properties. But I believe we're going to be stressing that more now. We've been putting the word out to our owners that, hey, we sell properties as well. Anyway, so he signed up with this girl to sell this property and told us, hey, I'm going to sell my property. I've already signed up with this lady, you know. So we said, well, whatever. But we'll continue to rent it until it sells. Typically, a listing will be for 6 months. 6 months the listing to sell a house. So she was at it for 2 years. 2 years. We never said a word. We didn't say a word because we specialize in rentals, and it was renting at that whole time period. And we thought, well, we kind of dropped the ball. We didn't tell him that we could sell it for him, so we didn't say anything. We didn't step on her action, okay? But toward the end of the 4th term of trying to sell it, her 4th listing with the same guy, and he was very patient, by the way. I don't think I would have had that kind of patience. But toward the end of the 4th term, she saw the listing was about to be expired again, and so she hustled up in the last couple weeks and got some people looking at it. The last 3 or 4 weeks. But there's a tenant in there. And the landlord-tenant law in Washington State says you have to give a tenant due notice. Normally it's 48 hours. And that's what we ask for, 48 hours. Now, by law, a realtor can show a home with just 24-hour notice. We don't feel 24 hours is enough time for them to clean up their house, pick up the things, arrange their time, and make all the arrangements necessary to have a place ready and, 24 hours. So, but anyway, this agent was showing the home without any notice. She would sometimes call up and say, hey, I'm on my way over. And the tenant not knowing, a lot of tenants don't know the law and what their rights are by law. By the way, my company, BCI Properties LLC, is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and we have been. We've been around a long time. We're A+ rated because, I think because we do things right. Now, it's not that we don't ever have a complaint. We have complaints. We have plenty of complaints. Even though we're a tenant advocate, people complain they don't get their deposit back, even though the dog pooped on the carpet and there was urine that went all the way through the carpet to the subfloor. They destroyed it. Oh, they want their deposit back. And they will complain, and they will sue us in court. Now, I've only lost one court case in 30 years. It's a matter of public record once. And we failed to mail the deposit settlement notice to the right address. So anyway, but getting back to this agent, she was stepping all over the tenant rights. So the tenant wrote us a letter complaining, and she's really nice, and she had let this agent do this a few times, but she said, do I have to allow this? So we told her, no, you don't. There has to be at least a 24-hour notice, and we require 48. So she wrote us a letter of complaint. we subsequently, my assistant property manager went to the owner, wrote him an email and said, hey, this agent of yours is stepping all over the tenant rights. She's making them feel bad. She's demanding entry, and sometimes they just knock on the door. One time somebody opened the door with a key and let themselves in because there's a key box on the door, right? So they got the key and, went in. And it's just, it's pretty fucked up. So, told the owner, and the owner said, and she said, if you want to, we can sell that house for you when the listing expires. And we knew it was going to expire within a few days. I suppose my agent knew that. I don't know. She should have known it. But anyway, so the owner, of course, shot an email straight to the property manager, to the sales lady, and says, "Hey, what the hell? You can't do that to the tenant, and here's the deal." But I think what he did is he forwarded our email of complaint. It was easier to do that. He just forwarded it and said, "Here, look at this." So that agent was ticked off. She was mad because we said when the listing's over, we would be glad to sell that property for you. We actually sell quite a few properties, actually. But when owners don't want to rent them anymore, we're glad to sell them. We're selling more now than we used to because now we're more proactive about letting owners know. Anyway, that real estate agent got so mad. Oh man, that's my listing. Oh man, they're gonna steal my listing. But she hadn't done shit for 2 years, 4 quarters, or 4 6-month periods. She listed it 4 times, didn't do nothing to sell that house. So, but guess what? We listed it here just last week. Now that it's expired, the owner got a hold of us. And within a week, we already had a full price offer. I don't know. So some agents, they list a house, they just sit it out there, put a sign in the yard, maybe put a few flyers in the box if the owner's lucky, and they just sit there and go off and they go do something else. They have other things in their life that's more important, and they go do that, and they just, because they feel like once they've listed the house, they've locked in the owner. They're under contract. That owner can't do anything about it unless they want to get sued, right? We're such a litigious society. Everybody wants to sue somebody, right? Hey, honey. Love you. I love my wife. My wife is Filipino. She's a Filipina. Man, I'm telling you, she's a hottie too. Man, my wife is 65 years old, and she could pass for 45. Anyway, she just takes care of herself, works out, aerobics, Zumba, all that stuff. So anyway, this real estate agent complained to the MLS. She went to the MLS, who we're a member of, and as a member of the MLS, we're precluded by rules and regulations that we can't contact somebody else's client. I felt justified that my assistant did that because it was our client before it was her client. We had already locked them up as a client, and we're under a power of attorney to act on their behalf. So we have a letter on file to act on their behalf on a power of attorney. So she complained to them, and man, it's been about a month now. They haven't decided what they're going to do yet. I guess I have to knock on their door and give them a call, find out what's going on. But they could, if they wanted to, give us a fine or take away our membership, from the MLS. In turn, what I could do, if I want to be spiteful and all that, I could go to the Department of Licensing in Olympia, state of Washington, and I could file a formal complaint with the Department of Licensing against her license for having broke the landlord-tenant law. She broke the law a number of times, in several ways. So I could do that. You know, I'm generally not about that kind of thing, but could be. Depends on the situation. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that real estate agents do. They're so jealous and about their listings, and they're so greedy that they don't care who they hurt. Now, again, please let me couch that in this way. That's some real estate agents. There are a lot of good real estate agents out there, a lot of great realtors, especially if they belong to the Board of Realtors. The Board of Realtors has their own group of rules and regulations, and they can issue fines, they can take somebody's membership away and all that. So and that's certainly a good thing to help keep the industry clean. But there is that group of greedy people out there that they will cut your throat. They will cut somebody's throat. I believe they would physically take a knife and cut somebody's throat physically if they thought they could get away with it, and if it would make them a bunch of money. So it's just kind of a scary thought, you know, really.